is Devin Shea. I'm a 20-year experienced junior architect and AEC professional. I am a BIM expert, implementation specialist, and Revit consultant. I have worked on Revit projects in over 30 different disciplines, 5 countries, 15 states, and I've worked on Revit projects in every occupancy type. As a trainer and consultant, I have taught at 7 schools and 5 Autodesk training centers. I have taught over 2,000 professionals in Revit in 2 countries and 15 states. I have been teaching engineers, architects, and artists how to draw for over 20 years. Feel free to follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube and enjoy the videos. This is one of my favorite projects that I was a part of. It's called the St. Louis Aquarium. It is in St. Louis, Missouri. I was flown from my home in California to go to St. Louis to work with a firm called PGAV. It's a huge firm that does museums, theme parks, aquariums, stuff like this. So with this gigantic train shed, what we're looking at here, this is the Union Station Hotel and Union Station in St. Louis. It's a very old train station from the early 20th century that was converted to sort of an indoor shopping mall in the 80s, and then it was bought by a developer in 2012, something like that, and we built a $150 million aquarium to go inside of here. It has a nice Ferris wheel, and you can see the St. Louis Aquarium is now on the sign. Can't remember the exact square footage in here, but it is just massive. Then also on my website there's a link to the construction cam, so you can see the whole construction phase of this. So what I have is the Revit model, and I'm going to be using a program called Tandem to give a proper walkthrough of the model. But my involvement in this project was I was brought in during the DD stage because we needed to create an Unreal video game that we were able to walk around in full high quality render mode with VR goggles and whatnot to show the developer what his $150 million project was going to look like. So this has about 8 different Revit models linked together and properly coordinated. We have an as-built model and all of the standard consultants, and then a huge LSS for fish and wildlife in here. So my involvement in the project was I was the BIM coordinator, so I essentially did all of the architectural modeling and then coordinated about 30 disciplines of different designers and aquatic specialists and aquarium habitat folks, and we used Revit as the primary medium, but we also had AutoCAD and 6 other different types of digital media that was going in and out of this project. So I basically was working for the architects PGAV, and I built all of the architectural related items, and then different designers built different elements for the model. For instance, we had graphic designers creating signage. We had exhibit designers creating different things for the exhibits, and your normal engineers and different types of people to work on that kind of stuff. So once we would create the architectural model inside of Revit, then we would kick it over to the visualization team, who would build further detail in 3ds Max and implement it into the video game, but all of the work flowed through this Revit model here. So what I have is I'm going to use this program called Autodesk Tandem to sort of go over the different models and give you a little walkthrough of the project. So we first have some as-built conditions. Like I previously mentioned, this thing was fitted out in the 80s to create sort of an indoor shopping area. So you had a big open atrium here that you could walk around in, and then you had different stores and restaurants that were on these different levels. And then there's actually a hotel that has rooms up in this area here. So turn on some of this stuff. Okay, so this is the actual architectural model here, which I was in charge of. I modeled most of this stuff here. We're going to be going over that in a second. Then we have the tenant spaces that were essentially all of the third-party vendors and whatnot. So this would be a restaurant area up here. These are outdoor walking buildings. I personally measured all of these curtain walls with a tape measure and modeled them myself. Then we also have all of the normal consultants. Turn this off a second. So this is the new structural model here. The new piles and stuff you can see down there. And then we have your standard mechanical, fire protection, electrical, and then we also have LSS for fish, as I call it, so life safety systems for aquatic habitats. Make it sound a little more intelligent there. So these are all of the MEP items here in the model. So I just coordinated all of the consultants' BIM workflows, and I was basically in charge of the model on the Revit side. I'm sorry, in charge of the Revit model on the architectural side. Alright, so then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn this on. So all of this is the aquarium itself. So up here on the top floor area we have the touch tanks, the otter exhibits, and this basically was broken down into different parts of aquatic habitats. So you had saltwater fish, you have freshwater fish, so things like your standard bass and trouts and whatnot, and then there was a shark tank, and this is actually the shark tank in here, and different smaller jewel tanks and little exhibits all along here. So essentially you would come into the front doors, which were located here. So you would enter here, go through a little entry area. Okay, and then once you're inside of the actual aquarium, you would enter the aquarium here and then make your way through the exhibits. So what I'm going to do is go into first person mode here. Excuse me while I fumble around for a second. Alright, see if I can get this to work. Okay, so now we're going to take a little tour. Hopefully this floor will not Give me too much trouble here. Okay. Caution, I am not the best at walking through. My nephew would love to do this. And of course this is working fine before I started recording here. So we just entered the aquarium, so you're going to come in here to the first area, which is the main train hall. So the aquarium sort of had this train theme because it was an old train shed. Let's see if I can rotate here. Can't really orbit. So from here you would walk into this little area, which was a little train car, and then you could walk down here. Unfortunately the model is glitching out a bit, but as you come around this corner here, you are entering the Muddy Missouri, I believe it was called. So this is all rock work with the fish tank here. So inside of what you're looking at here, this was rock work that was modeled using ZBrush. So there was an exhibit artist that would create a 3D mesh of what would become prefabricated pieces of essentially plastic rock or plaster that made it look like rock, and then they would take this model and then export it to me, and then I would stick it into the Revit model. So there's another little tank right there, and as you make your way winding through here, you come to different exhibits. So this would be another exhibit, maybe an otter or something over here. We'll go kind of cruise around. There we are. Some other cool stuff. There's your escalator that takes you upstairs to the otter area and the touch tanks. This little waiting area so parents can sit down to rest. Let's see if we can make our way down through these halls. And then back in here you had a lot of support areas and stuff. I believe that is another exhibit, but we're just gonna cruise around here. So this model is only a DD model, so it looks a little light in here, but the majority of our walkthrough that we did for the client was in an actual video game, which allowed us to have better walking control and better visualization of the tanks and certain things. So I'm going to get out of first person mode here. Alright, and then I'm going to go and use my little cut plane here so we can have a better look. I want to zoom in on the shark tank. I always have to turn on my tenant model. Let's see where I'm at. Okay, so the shark tank is located here. Is the shark tank here, and you would walk in essentially from the hotel lobby. So this area right here would actually be the hotel lobby, and then you would walk in. There's actually a picture of the shark tank on my website. There's my lovely ceiling thing that I made. So this would be the shark tank area here. It's the biggest tank and the coolest in the whole project. So let's zoom up here a little bit. This is a little crane that they use to bring stuff into the tank and take the sharks out. These are little service areas. I'm sorry, these aren't service areas. You can actually walk above the tank. It's only been like 6 years since I worked on this, so I'm trying to remember. But these are little jewel tanks here that has different types of fish in here. And then you can walk over here above the shark tank, find your way over to here, and across this little platform over here to the touch tanks and the otter exhibits. So the challenges of this project was there were many different trades and consultants using all different formats of digital delivery. So we had people using AutoCAD, people using IFC models, all kinds of stuff. The difficult part for the architects and myself was that they didn't utilize a 3D scanner. So things like this curtain wall, where I literally had to climb on top of this roof right here and use a tape measure to attempt to measure these walls. A 3D scanner would have been great, because this train shed roof was like 200 feet tall, so it was very, very tricky. Maybe not 200 feet, but pretty darn tall. So you can just imagine what the scope of this thing was inside of here. Okay. Well, that is all that I have to talk about on the St. Louis Aquarium. This is one of my favorite projects because I am an expert in visualization. I'm trained on all the video game stuff. So basically what I did was consult with my team and teach them all of the ins and outs of the workflow to deliver this project. After the project was done, they've won several awards on this project, and I recommended my clients for a technology conference in St. Louis. So I actually submitted to a colleague of mine that they should reach out to PGAV and have them come and speak at the convention. So my project architect and the project manager on this project, including the visualization gentleman Steve, were all keynote speakers at a technology conference, since I kind of helped him do all this. So this was a pretty big deal in St. Louis, because in the Midwest, BIM is not really utilized a lot. So thanks for watching my presentation. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks for stopping by. Be sure to subscribe and like and that notification thing and whatever YouTube stuff you guys do. Have a good one.